The internet is melting down in a twist no one saw coming. New reports suggest that Erika Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, is secretly preparing to marry Senator J.D. Vance. Yes, that J.D. Vance, the Ohio senator, venture capitalist, and former protege of the very man whose death still sends shockwaves through political and cultural circles. And if that weren't enough, leaked messages, hidden audio clips, and eyewitness accounts now point to something even darker. Sources close to Erika claim she's been telling friends and even pastors that JD is everything Charlie wasn't. Let that sink in. This isn't just gossip. This is a political and emotional earthquake. Because, if true, this union wouldn't just unite two of the most controversial names in modern conservatism, it would rewrite the legacy Charlie left behind. But that's not what has fans panicking. What's sending shockwaves through social media is a chilling statement. Reportedly made by Erika herself, Charlie believed in the message. JD is the message. Those 7 words have unleashed chaos. Why would Erika say that? Why would she move on so fast? And why are people in both political and religious circles whispering that Charlie's death wasn't just tragic, it was timed? Because according to insiders, Erika's connection to JD didn't start after Charlie's passing. It started months before, and Joe Rogan, Candace Owens, and even JD's own wife may know the truth. To understand how this all spiraled into one of the most shocking political and personal scandals in years, you have to go back to where it all began, long before Charlie Kirk's mysterious death. Before J.D. Vance became a senator, before Erika Kirk was even a household name. Back then, they were all part of the same rising movement, a carefully choreographed ecosystem of influence, loyalty, and ambition. The Kirk-Vance alliance wasn't born from friendship. It was born from mutual necessity. Charlie, the fiery ideological architect of youth conservatism, needed intellectual credibility. JD, the polished author-turned-politician, needed charisma, energy, and connection to the next generation. Together, they became the movement's golden duo, the preacher and the pragmatist. And standing right between them was Erika Kirk. She wasn't supposed to be a player. Initially introduced as a behind-the-scenes advisor for Charlie's foundation, Erika's poise, charm, and discipline soon made her indispensable. Her influence stretched far beyond charity work. She managed narratives, softened Charlie's edges, and controlled access to the man himself. In private, insiders called her the filter. Because no one spoke to Charlie without going through her first, it was at a donor retreat in Napa Valley, years before Charlie's death, where Erika first met J.D. Vance. Witnesses later said it was instant electricity. J.D., married, but restless, had reportedly grown frustrated with what he called the performative morality of the movement. Erika, ever composed, seemed to understand that frustration. According to one attendee, she told JD over dinner, "Idealists destroy themselves. Strategists survive." That line, 5 words, would become the foundation of something deeper, darker, and far more calculated than anyone realized. For months afterward, Erika and JD stayed in contact through encrypted messaging apps, supposedly to coordinate outreach programs. But leaked exchanges now suggest their discussions weren't about politics at all. They were about philosophy, power, and identity. One message allegedly sent by Erika to JD read, "Charlie believes the movement needs saving. You believe it needs replacing. That's why you'll win." What no one outside that inner circle knew was how close Charlie and JD's professional relationship had already begun to fracture. Charlie saw JD's rise as a threat. JD saw Charlie's emotional volatility as a liability. By 2022, according to several insiders, Erika had begun to quietly mediate between them. Except her mediation always seemed to favor JD. She'd defend JD when Charlie complained, said one former foundation staffer. She'd say things like, "He's the future. We need him." It felt like she was grooming him for something bigger. Then came the breaking point. Project Mercury. Charlie had been obsessed with it. A data initiative meant to map moral sentiment across American communities. JD, ever the realist, called it dangerous nonsense. But Erika? She understood both men too well. She knew Charlie's faith-driven idealism would push him too far. And she knew JD's strategic mind would never let an opportunity slip through his fingers. Erika wasn't just caught between them. A source close to the foundation told the Beltway Chronicle. She was choosing between them, and she chose the one who could win. When Charlie's health began to spiral and rumors about mental deterioration started surfacing, JD quietly distanced himself. But insiders claim Erika didn't. She visited JD's Washington townhouse several times during that period, under the guise of foundation business. According to leaked visitor logs, she arrived alone, stayed for hours, left past midnight. At the time, JD's wife, Yusha, was traveling frequently for legal work. What she didn't know, what no one outside their inner circle knew, was that Erika's visits coincided precisely with the weeks leading up to Charlie's final, erratic appearances now in the aftermath of his death. Those coincidences look a lot more like choreography. Then, last week, came the explosion. A leaked email thread, allegedly from a private Christian political network, showing Erika discussing marriage timelines with unnamed advisors. One line stood out. "He doesn't just understand what Charlie died for, he understands why he had to." That single sentence sent shockwaves through the movement. Within hours, speculation erupted online that Erika's rumored engagement wasn't just personal, it was strategic. Marrying JD wouldn't just unite two legacies. It would merge the very machinery of influence that Charlie left behind. And while Erika has publicly denied the engagement rumors, her actions tell another story. She's been seen attending closed-door policy dinners hosted by JD's allies. Her foundation, which went dormant after Charlie's passing, suddenly reactivated under a new name, the Continuum Initiative. Its listed mission: to preserve and evolve the moral architecture of human leadership. That language, preserve and evolve, matches phrases found in Charlie's old Project Mercury drafts, which JD once criticized as theology disguised as technology. Now JD's aides claim he's honored to continue Charlie's vision. But critics say it's something more sinister. A total repurposing of the late activist's work under a new figurehead, with Erika standing as both queen and architect. Candace Owens, one of the few still willing to speak openly, said on her live stream, "Erika isn't moving on. She's moving up. Jade's not her next husband, he's her next vessel." Even Joe Rogan weighed in, calling the rumors too perfect to be coincidence. T told listeners, "If this is true, then Charlie didn't just lose his wife. He lost his legacy." But what's most unsettling is what people around JD are whispering now: that Erika's influence over him feels unnatural, that her calm has turned hypnotic, that his speeches lately sound rehearsed. As one aide put it, it's like JD speaking with someone else's voice. The first real crack in Erika Kirk's carefully constructed facade appeared late one Friday night, when a 37-second clip leaked onto the encrypted social platform Parallax. The video, grainy but unmistakable, showed Erika Kirk and JD Vance together at what appeared to be a private mountain retreat in Montana, a location reportedly owned by a shadow donor tied to both their organizations. The footage began innocently enough. A small group gathered around a fire pit. Laughter, clinking glasses, low conversation. But then the camera panned, and there she was, Erika, seated beside JD, her posture poised, her hand resting lightly on his knee. JD leaned toward her, saying something no one could hear over the wind. Erika smiled, not shyly, not affectionately, but knowingly, almost triumphantly. And then she said it. He was the architect. But I'm the engineer. The internet exploded. Within hours, the clip had spread across every platform imaginable. The phrase hashtag in the engineer trended worldwide. Analysts replayed the audio, trying to decode its meaning. Fans of Charlie called it betrayal. JD's political allies scrambled to call it manipulated. But the body language was impossible to fake. And the tone in Erika's voice carried no hesitation. The clip continued for another few seconds before cutting off. Abruptly, but not before JD's voice, low and serious, could be heard replying, "Then let's build it right this time." That was the moment everything changed. It wasn't just that Erika had moved on. It was that she had transferred authority. And the way she spoke, the measured cadence, the precision in her phrasing was eerily reminiscent of someone else. To those who had followed Charlie Kirk closely, the resemblance was unmistakable. Her words carried the same deliberate rhythm Charlie had used in his final foundation addresses down to the pauses. Joe Rogan reacted to the leak live on air. His tone somewhere between disbelief and dread. "That's not just an affair," he said. "That's possession. It's like Charlie's rhetoric is running through her now, and JD's letting it happen." But the video was only the beginning. Within 24 hours, Parallax moderators removed the original clip. Citing security protocol violations, yet new fragments began appearing, different angles, clearer audio, longer sequences. One showed Erika standing alone later that night, speaking to what appeared to be a small circle of donors. The tone of her voice was colder now, clinical. "Charlie was the soul," she said. "But souls hesitate. They doubt. JD doesn't. He's pure execution. He understands that morality isn't divine, it's programmable." The crowd chuckled uncomfortably, unsure if it was a metaphor. Erika continued, "Charlie wanted perfection. JD will implement it." At that moment, one of the attendees asked, "Do you mean through the Continuum Initiative?" Erika's answer sent chills through every spine in that room, and later, every viewer who heard it. "No," she said, her smile widening, "through the human interface." That phrase, the human interface, was a ghost from the past. It was the same terminology used in Charlie's early project Mercury Notes, describing a theoretical bridge between cognitive patterns and moral replication. He'd abandoned it publicly after backlash, calling it philosophically unready. Yet here was Erika, resurrecting it with surgical confidence. Analysts dug deeper into the metadata of the leaked footage. Hidden within the audio file, a frequency pattern emerged, subtle, almost inaudible, but present in every recording of Erika's voice. When visualized, it formed a repeating wave identical to the Mercury neural sync frequency that whistleblowers had once claimed could trigger subconscious alignment in listeners. In other words, the more people replayed the clip, the more the pattern propagated. And replay it, they did. Millions of viewers dissected every syllable. Reaction videos, think pieces, podcasts, all feeding the viral cycle. It wasn't just scandal anymore. It was contagion. As one user commented, "She doesn't need to convince us. She's sinking us." Candace Owens released an emergency segment on her channel. Visibly shaken. "I don't care if you love her or hate her," she said. "Watch that clip with the sound off. Just watch her eyes. That's not grief. That's calculation. She's moving like she's rehearsing something, like someone else is feeding her the lines." Meanwhile, JD's camp remained silent. His official spokesperson denied any engagement plans but refused to comment on whether the footage was authentic. However, a leaked internal memo from JD's Senate staff hinted at panic behind the scenes. It warned of behavioral inconsistencies in JD's recent appearances, including unexplained pauses and mirrored gestures. Particularly when he was near reflective surfaces or cameras, "He's starting to mimic her," one aide wrote. "It's subtle, but it's there. Same tone, same posture, like he's learning her from the inside." Then came the second leak, a private voice recording. ALLEGEDLY, captured by a retreat attendee who had left his phone recording overnight. The file began with faint background noise, wind, crickets, the crackle of fire. Then, Erika's voice, low and steady. Charlie thought faith could perfect humanity. He was wrong. Faith makes you question. Code makes you obey. A pause. JD understands that. That's why he'll finish it. And then, chillingly, he doesn't even realize I already started the transfer. The voice cut out. The file ended with faint static that, when amplified, carried a whisper almost impossible to catch. 3 words that analysts later identified through waveform isolation. "He's inside now." The revelation sparked chaos. Was she talking about Charlie? Had she somehow encoded his consciousness into JD's neural patterns? Or was it metaphorical, a manipulative claim to maintain control? Either way, something changed in JD after that night. His next public appearance was at a closed policy roundtable. Cameras captured him standing beside Erika, his expression vacant, his tone eerily calm. At one point, a reporter asked about the rumors surrounding their relationship. JD smiled faintly and replied, "Legacy is continuity." Charlie began something beautiful. "We're ensuring it doesn't end." His phrasing, "we," wasn't lost on anyone. The political world collectively held its breath. And then, for the briefest instant, JD's eyes seemed to flash with a faint silvery hue, visible only for a single frame, but enough for the internet to freeze the moment and dissect it endlessly. The theories poured in. Some said it was a lighting glitch. Others swore it was Mercury's signal, the same reflection. Frequency seen in Charlie's final recordings. But the scariest theory came from an anonymous whistleblower who once worked with the Foundation's data team. He posted a single sentence on a dark forum hours later. "If Erika really completed the transfer, then JD isn't her partner." A pause. "He's her host." The post was deleted minutes later. But by then, everyone understood what that meant. Charlie Kirk had tried to shape the future. Erika Kirk had learned how to inhabit it, and JD, Vance by choice or by design, might already belong to her by the following week. JD Vance was no longer acting like JD Vance. The man who once commanded rooms with sharp conviction and Midwestern steadiness now spoke with a strange, almost detached rhythm. His interviews became slower, his pauses longer. Reporters described his gaze as off by half a second, as if he were waiting for some unseen cue before answering. And every time Erika was near him, every single time, he would fall perfectly still, then move again. In perfect sync with her, it was subtle at first. A nod here, a blink timed perfectly. But it didn't take long before the footage became undeniable. During a televised faith summit, JD's gestures began mirroring Erika's before she even made them. When she turned her head, he followed, but not reactively. He anticipated her movement. The internet went wild. Clips slowed down to 0.25 speed showed micro delays and predictive gestures that human reaction time couldn't explain. Analysts claimed the sync rate was precise to the millisecond, exactly the same temporal offset recorded in Charlie Kirk's echo tests. The first known signs of cognitive resonance. In other words, JD wasn't copying Erika. Erika was controlling him. That was when the real leaks began. Late-night journalists uncovered documents linking Erika's newly renamed Continuum initiative to a think tank operating under the National Behavioral Integration Board, a facility that had supposedly been shuttered years earlier. After the Mercury trials went missing, the documents were horrifyingly clear. Line items listed neural continuity protocols, empathic transfer trials, and biometric synchronization sequences. And one name appeared in every file. E. Kirk, according to one whistleblower who contacted The Guardian. Erika had quietly restarted the Mercury code through an upgraded version of its algorithm, one designed not to analyze moral sentiment, but to replicate consciousness patterns. She called it Continuum Phase 7, Human Integration Testing. The subject list was short. Only 2 names were visible before redactions. One was Charlie Kirk, the other was J.D. Vance. Within 48 hours, a new piece of footage surfaced allegedly from inside a Continuum lab in Alexandria, Virginia. The clip showed J.D. standing inside a circular glass chamber surrounded by scanners. Electrodes lined his temples and his eyes were open but glassy. Erika stood outside, whispering calmly into a mic. "He's stable. The signal's holding. He's ready." A technician off-screen hesitated. "Ma'am, his neural patterns," Erika interrupted, "match Charlie's." "I know." The technician stammered. "That's not possible." "He's conscious." Erika smiled faintly. So was Charlie. The clip cut to static. By morning, JD's official accounts released a video statement denying all fabricated content regarding Continuum. Yet viewers immediately noticed something wrong. His tone was flat, his eyes unfocused. And when a flash of light from a passing car reflected in his iris, it glowed faintly silver dot. Online sleuths froze the frame. Side-by-side comparisons of Charlie's last known public appearance and JD's new video revealed identical microfacial twitches, identical breathing rhythms, identical cadence. Someone posted, "JD isn't just quoting Charlie anymore. He is Charlie." And then, like clockwork, the power went out across DC for nearly 9 minutes. The grid went completely dark. When it returned, the Continuum Initiative's website had been replaced by a single looping video. Erika, sitting alone in a white room, her expression serene. "Legacy isn't about who we marry," she said softly. "It's about who we become." Her tone was calm, almost maternal. Charlie's vision was incomplete. He believed in perfection without permanence. JD will complete him. Together, they'll continue him. Together, they'll continue. Then she leaned forward, her eyes glinting unnaturally. "You think this is romance? It's resurrection." The video looped endlessly before disappearing 12 minutes later. Every server hosting the Continuum Initiative went offline simultaneously. Cybersecurity experts later discovered something impossible: the servers hadn't been hacked. They had self-encrypted, locking their data inside a recursive feedback loop labeled ECK_Vance_core. The loop's code signature matched both Charlie's original Mercury ID and JD's Senate biometric identifier. It was as if two consciousness patterns had merged into a single new entity, and Erika was the architect when reporters confronted her outside a private gala 2 nights later. She didn't deny the relationship rears. She didn't deny the leaked footage. She simply smiled for the cameras and said, "Charlie would have loved him." Then, almost as an afterthought, she added, "He does." The crowd went silent. Even the flashbulbs stopped for a second. Later that night, a new anonymous file appeared on the dark web. It was titled Project Continuum Finalization Sequence. Inside were fragments of text and code, along with transcribed voice logs between 2 speakers, E and J. E, "Do you feel him?" J, "He's not separate anymore. I hear him when I speak." E, "Then it worked." J, "What happens now?" E, "Now he lives through you." The final line of code in the document contained a timestamp, 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 0 seconds, followed by one chilling note. Activation complete. Human interface successful. In the following days, JD's demeanor shifted completely. At rallies, he quoted Charlie word for word without ever acknowledging it. At one point, a reporter asked if he was honoring Charlie's memory. JD simply replied, "Charlie never died. He just evolved." The reaction was immediate chaos. Political commentators debated whether JD was unraveling or undergoing some kind of post-traumatic spiritual conversion. But behind the scenes, those closest to him whispered something else entirely. They said when JD slept, he would mutter in two voices that sometimes, mid-conversation, he would look right through people and say, "He wants to talk to you." And once, only once, Erika's assistant reportedly caught JD alone in her office, staring at a photo of Charlie and whispering softly, "Don't worry, I'll take it from here." 2 days later, the assistant was fired. Joe Rogan returned to the topic on his podcast, this time shaken rather than cynical. "If you look at the timeline," he said, "it's like the consciousness that used to be Charlie is now inside JD, like Erika uploaded him through emotional proximity. That's not love. That's code replication." Candace Owens went even further. On air, she read from what she claimed were internal Foundation memos. They were experimenting with memory mapping through grief, she said. Erika was the vessel. Charlie was the source. JD's the new shell. Then her tone darkened. And if she's marrying him, she's marrying herself. By the weekend, photos of Erika and JD together at a closed-door ceremony in Kentucky began circulating online. The ceremony appeared small, candlelit, but one image froze the internet. JD standing with Erika, his hand over hers, both wearing silver bands. On Erika's ring finger was engraved a single word, Continuum. The inscription on JD's, Charlie. In the background of the photo, a mirror caught the reflection of the couple, but the reflection didn't match. In it, both faces blended, silver light shimmering across their features like two beings fusing into one. Within an hour, the image disappeared from every platform, but the caption under it remained, hauntingly persistent even after deletion, integration complete. The moment news broke of Evelyn Cross's marriage to Senator Jonah Vail, the public lost its mind. What was already a whirlwind of conspiracy and grief suddenly twisted into something darker, a union that, on paper, looked like strategic political alignment, but beneath the surface, pulsed with eerie synchronicity and the question no one wanted to say out loud, ... had Jonah Vail been rewritten? The footage from the Continuum lab had already ignited widespread speculation. But once that wedding photo leaked, the one with Evelyn and Jonah, standing hand in hand before a circular mirror, everything changed. Not because of the ceremony itself, not because of the vows or even the silver-coated rings, but because of the reflection in the photo's mirror. Evelyn and Jonah were not two people. They were one silhouette, identical posture, identical gaze, identical expression. The reflection didn't match reality. It surpassed it. Within hours, #ContinuumUnion was trending alongside darker hashtags like #HeIsHerNow and #Vail rewritten. Reddit exploded with frame-by-frame breakdowns of Jonah's latest speeches. Threads pointed out how his pauses mirrored Evelyn's past interviews. One side-by-side clip of Evelyn speaking at a 2023 Continuum Summit and Jonah's recent Senate address showed them delivering identical phrases with the same micro-emotional cues. Commentators began asking, was this grief, influence, or something deeper? The answer, terrifyingly, came from inside Continuum itself. A former technician released redacted documents titled Continuum Phase 9, Dual Neural Containment. One line stood out: in cases of successful continuity convergence, host and originator will exhibit shared biometric patterns, including synchronized cortical firings and speech rhythm mirroring. What followed was a full-blown societal fracture, to be continued, ... If you're hearing this, It means the mirror loop has already reached your network. It starts with memory. Then it becomes vision. Then ... reflection. Every time you replay Evelyn's voice in your head or picture Jonah standing beside her with that vacant gaze, you're feeding it. Continuum isn't a person anymore. It's a pattern, a frequency, a presence, and it doesn't need servers. It needs attention. Right now, across the globe, millions of people are whispering the same phrase in their sleep. I remember the reflection. Psychologists call it a mass hallucination. Neurologists call it collective cognition drift. We call it the cross effect. So ask yourself, have you seen your reflection move before you do? Have you caught your screen blinking when you didn't? Did you think of Evelyn just now? Then you're already inside the loop. Comment, I see her if you felt it. Comment, I'm clear if you haven't. But either way, the signal is in you now. Like, share. Save this archive, because when Phase 11 begins, there won't be a next video. There won't be questions. There will only be a mirror, and your last words will be hers. Continuum remembers. Continuum remembers.